All right, so okay, so then I guess the last one, what we got? I guess the last deal
Know what it
is
is.
actually the deal that we got played on, man. So it's the
The Houston
$40,000 deal.
deal.
And like I know that we got
Mhm.
limited time. We got batteries running low over here or whatever. So we're on limited time. So I kind of want to give y'all the cliff notes on this one, whatever. But so I guess I'll kind of just start it off or whatever. So basically, we came across this deal. This IST, this was an ISTL lead, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't it?
I believe
Yeah, I
it
think this
was
is
either that.
ISTL.
It was either that or a Fizbo. I think it was an ISTL.
I'm
I
pretty
think it was
sure this is
ISTO.
ISTL.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
yeah, it
basically,
was.
long story short, this person submitted their
We good,
information
Ed.
online. Okay, perfect. Boom. Okay, perfect. So apparently, this person submitted their deal online and said that they wanted to sell their property or whatever. We get one of our guys in contact with them. Shout out to Kyle on that deal or whatever. He put in a ton of work on that one.
Yep.
Basically he ends up reaching out to the dude. They build up massive rapport. They like, yeah, bro, da 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 da, like everything is going smoothly. We get this property locked up. I think this was in like June or something like that.
It
And we
was
locked this
June.
property up months ago, right? So it's like a couple months in advance of August. Long story short, or whatever. Um, yeah, I guess like just kind of fast forward this thing or whatever to the part that's actually juicy or whatever, because I guess none of the other stuff really matters or whatever. So basically, we end up finding this buyer, quote unquote buyer, right? We come across this person that wants to buy the property. Um, oh shit. Anyway, I was just thinking like, damn, should I
You
say their
debating?
name? I'm still debating on
Yeah.
whether I want to actually expose them publicly or not. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I don't know if I really want to do it. I kind of don't want to do it. I like because at the end of the day or whatever, it's like, I've always been a fan of let go and let God. I still reserve the right to change my mind, even during this conversation. Okay. So anyway.
Hey,
Yo, I
so
love it.
anyway, basically, long story short, this patient Morby student, like this buyer, he comes to us, is like, yeah, he was talking to us at first or whatever. He's like, yeah, I want to buy this deal. I want to do 133 cash. We was trying to sell it for 143. It was going to be looking like a $50,000 spread for us or something like that. He wanted to do 133.
yeah.
He's like, all right, shit, like, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we ready. We're like, hey, let's go. So long story short, like the following day, he reaches back out and says that, hey, look, everything is all good. Or maybe it was a few days later. I'm not sure or whatever. But either way, like before we signed the contract, I was like, hey, look, we want to make sure that we could put 350 on the actual purchase agreement so we can get that from our lender. Essentially, not exactly those words. I'm kind of paraphrasing or whatever, but he wanted it to look like they were actually buying it for 350 instead of the 143,000 plus a promissory note of 297,000 on the back end. That's what it was supposed to be. So technically the total sale price was 440. They wanted it to look like 350 on paper because he said, I want to do the Morby method. That's what I'm saying. It's like it was Page Morby students or whatever, like he's in the Page Morby group or whatever. Y'all would see this guy. Y'all probably have seen him several times. Anyway, I ain't gonna harp on it too hard or whatever. Let go and let God. All
You're
right,
not
but
gonna drop the name.
I'm trying not to. It may happen.
Ah,
I ain't gonna lie to you. It may
Hey,
happen before the end of this or whatever. I'm
man,
gonna
I
be
want to
honest.
drop
I'm
the
starting
name
to get
so
heated
bad,
as I'm talking about it. I'm
right?
getting a little bit more heated. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be honest. But so basically, this person says that they want to buy, but they want to use the Morby method to buy the property. And our guy that actually locked the deal up, he's also a Pace Morby student. So I'm like, and we were live. We were doing it live in the virtual office or whatever, which is really cool or whatever. And like everyone could hear this call or whatever. Like, oh shit, you want to do the Morby method? Okay, that's what's up. Da, 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 da. Like, all right, whatever. Look, as long as the money clears at the table or whatever, then maybe we can work on that. Let me see. Let me holler at my guy Najee though. So I end up reaching out to Najee. I'm like, low key, it sounds a little weird though, because they saying that they want to have it on paper for 350, but we sell it for 440. It kind of sounds like fraud. And then Kyle also had just found a cash buyer that just wanted to pay cash, $143,000 cash, like basically the same day or the next day or something like that or whatever. So I reach out to Najee. I'm like, it kind of sounds like they want to do fraud or whatever. Maybe we'll just go with our cash buyer. Intuition was trying to tell us, y'all.
oh.
But
Yeah.
basically, we didn't end up going with that actual cash buyer because we ended up getting on a phone call with Aaron. So, Najee, maybe you want to take it from here. You want to tell him like the conversation with Aaron or whatever, how he kind of broke down to us like what they were actually trying to do on the deal.
Yeah, so Aaron was the lender, and he was pretty much saying that the lender, and what
Right.
he was saying that is that they want to show on paper because the deal is being financed quite heftily on the back end. So what they wanted to do was put a purchase price on paper, buy it from us, and then keep the residual funds and do whatever else. They were supposed to walk away from closing with what, like over 100,000 or something like that,
Yeah, it's like 110 or
122,000,
120. Yeah.
something like that. And they were like, they do this all the time, and this is coming from the lender. And so we were just like, okay. The main reason why we chose to do it is because it was a pay student, and our acquisition manager was a pay student. So we were like, yeah, we have a cash buyer, but we're not like thirsty to where, okay, we need to hurry up and close this deal. Our goal was more so like, hey, let's create a relationship with this pay student. We have more sub two opportunities. Let's just see how where this relationship is going to go. And I mean, we had a great call with
Mhm.
with this buyer. We had a really, really good call. So essentially, he got us on the phone with this lender that was basically saying like, hey, we do this all the time. And I guess that was the way that whatever the buyer was saying that he wanted to do the Morby method, this was what he was insisting upon. I'm not 100% familiar with the Morby method because I'm not a pay student, but I do know pay students. And when this person came to us and said he was a pay student, my guard was down. Like, look, if you want to get over on me, just tell me you a pay student. I'm not going to do no background check. I'm not about to vet you. But the biggest mistake that we made was just trusting him at face value, and he sent his agreement over and we signed his agreement. And that was the biggest
Mhm.
mistake that we made, because through that agreement he was able to backdoor us, and I mean essentially go
That's
directly
all it
to our
takes.
seller. And even within that, uh it was just the way that they did it. Anytime I do a deal, I always treat you like a partner.
So
So
talk about it. Talk about it. What ended up happening or whatever. Like talk about like how did this deal end up becoming a shit show? Like introduce that.
so So essentially on the day of closing, title had made a mistake. We have what we're selling the property for, and then there's going to be a promissory note, which is going to be due to the seller. Uh, what was it? 5 years? I believe it was like
I think
within
it was
5 years or
four,
four.
maybe. I think maybe it
It
was
was
four.
four. It was four. So what the title company did was they just wrapped everything up in one. The money that was supposed to be due in 4 years, as well as the money that was due at closing, they had it all as one transaction. And on the HUD, it said that our company needed to bring $50,000 to the table to close the deal.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
right. So we get on the phone with the buyer who wants to do the Morby method, and he gets his lender on the phone, and they're pressing us, kind of like, hey, look, we're ready to close this tomorrow. Either you come up with the 50,000, or we're gonna sue. Like we're gonna do like a notice of cure. You know.
Mhm.
So it wasn't so much of like, hey, let's see what went wrong. It was just straight threats. Like we're gonna sue you if you don't
Right.
come up with the 50,000.
That's
And the way that I feel is that like if I'm looking at everyone as partners, I have to understand that everyone doesn't look at me as such, and I'm fine with that. But in what world are you okay with me bringing you a deal, and then not only am I not going to get I think it was like between 40 and 50,000 that we were supposed to make on this deal. So not only am I not getting that, but you want me to put out 50,000 and close it. So my whole team is out of
right.
90,000, and you're not saying like, hey, look, you guys do what you need to do on that end to find out the mistake. You're just like, come up with the 50 or I'm suing,
Or else looking at it
or
like that's
else.
crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
or else.
crazy.
So we talked to title that same night. The escrow officer, shout out to Diane. I'm not going to say her last name, but she's
Mhm.
phenomenal, and she helped us, and she said, okay, well, this is the remedy, this is what we need to do, and then everything will be fixed. So
Mhm.
we did that. The next day we're ready to close, and these people are ducking our calls. They won't even get on the phone with us now. It went from have have the 50,000 tomorrow or we're suing, to where we're hitting them back like, there's no 50,000. Is the deal is still the original deal that we presented to you on the table. We're ready to close. They sent like cancellation documents to my client, like to the person that was selling us the property. You know, so they completely backdoored, and then they had some loose wording in their agreement that allows them to back out of the agreement with no repercussions. So the biggest mistake that I made was just trusting them at face value when they said, hey, you know, I'm a pay student. Me personally, I've had people try to do stuff on deals, but I've never been backdoored. And I always take pride in that because of the way that I try to develop a relationship with this person. And I mean, if you're not for me on a deal, I'm not going to do the deal with you. It's no different than that guy in Chicago that was like, we're changing the title company. No, we're not. This ain't your deal anymore, and we don't ever need to talk again. You know, so I only do deals with people that want to actually work with me. And this person
Mhm.
presented themselves as an ally when they were actually an adversary. The moment that a problem came into play, I mean, me, Ed, Mike, as well as Kyle, we're on the phone at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, hey, you know, here's some solutions, here's some things that we can do. And we came up with the solution. Friday morning, we're ready to close. The buyer's not answering his phone. The fake lender, both of them are fake to me, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, but they're not answering the phone now. And then that evening, you're sending cancellation documents to my client, and then you're sending me emails like, you need to cancel this, or you're not going to sue anybody because everything is within the agreement that we have. So how about you kill that noise and let's just do the deal that we had on the table? It seemed like they wanted us to put up the 50,000 instead of us just closing the deal. And how could you be comfortable with me and my team losing 90,000 in order for you to do the deal? Because you were
That's
more
wild.
adamant about that difference of what we were selling the property to what you have it on paper for, so you can walk away from closing. You still would have got that. The problem was
Mhm.
fixed. You know, so I don't know what agreement that they did, what backdoor agreement that they did with the seller, but essentially they just waited for the contract to expire, and then they just kind of walked off with the seller.
Yep.
You know, they're probably
And
all holding hands right now.
Petty as hell,
and
man.
guess what? That'll never happen again because that
Yeah.
deal.
So my takeaway is this: if you have a deal, never sign someone else's agreement. Always have your control always have control of your deal, because I feel like this is our fault. Like, yeah, the person was like, hey, I'm a pay student, yada yada yada. We have someone on the team that's a pay student. I thought was great for rapport building. We can form a relationship. The
Mhm.
mistake is that I signed his contract, and his contract had that shady wording in there that allowed them to back out with no repercussions. You know, that was my fault for being so trustworthy. I don't like treating my partners as adversaries, so I'm always kind of looking like at a situation like, okay, how can I bring value? How can we get to the next deal? How can we develop a beautiful relationship to where when you call me, I have something for you and we're closing deals left and right? That's how I look at people. And
Mhm.
even though I look at people like that, I learned a valuable lesson from this deal. Hey, you can send your agreement. I'm not going to sign it. And the only way that you're going to get this property is if you sign our agreement, because we're not going to screw ourselves over. And I don't know
Mhm.
what your intentions are. And I have other people on my team that are grown men with families. I can't afford to be getting screwed on a deal that we spent 2 months on, a lot of manpower hours, you know, renegotiating the deal. You know what I mean? Just all the stuff that we did to actually make the deal happen, keeping the seller happy as extensions are coming and he's getting upset, like
Mhm.
ensuring him like, hey, we have you in best interest in mind. We're going to fulfill our obligation to you. You know, so having to worry about all that pressure, and then you have to watch out for your buyer, it's just a little too much. So go get that vanilla dispo pack, and you won't have to worry
Mhm.
about that, because when that happened,
Never
we
again.
literally restructured our agreement to where I
Every
dare you
one
to
of
try
them.
that. Yeah, I dare you to try it again. That'll never
Good.
happen. You go
Not
ahead
about
and
It ain't
do it.
never.
happening again.
I'll be right there at the bank laughing. I'll be so happy.
Right?
I'll be so happy if you circumvent on that deal.
Yeah.
Ah, thank
Yeah.
If
God
we
right
had to
now.
do those contracts, bro.
Like,
Oh
yes.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if we
tell
had
them
to do
about
those
them
contracts,
vanilla
we would
dispo
have,
contract packs.
bro. So after that, we ended up adding. We updated our A to B contract because we've had an issue with sellers before as well. So we added some stuff in there for the seller side. But more importantly, on the buyer side, we ended up adding, I think it's multiple things, right? And there's number one,
Mhm.
which is circumvention, which is what happened with this deal while we lost 40 something thousand dollars. So now that's never going to happen again. because
Ever.
number one, we're not using someone else's contracts, we're using ours. Secondly, if they try to circumvent us, you're gonna have to run that bag. We'll probably make a bigger fee from you trying to circumvent us than our
Right.
wholesale fee, right?
Facts.
And you can't go behind us and just wait out the contract either. There's a time period after, if you don't perform on that deal, you got a waiting period till you get that next, till you can go to the seller. Otherwise, you still running us that bag. Either way.
So we have to
And we even added
strengthen.
something. Yep.
Oh,
And we
go
even
ahead. Go
added
ahead.
something on our assignment contract as well. Yep.
Right. What
So
was it on the
every
assignment? I
contract.
can't remember. Like what was
Assignment is
like
the same
the
thing.
thing that we
Same circumvention.
oh right, like the circumvention and stuff like that or whatever, right? So
And there's another
basically
thing
all
too
of
as
these
well.
new agreements. Yeah, all
Yep.
of the new agreements are basically like bona fidely protecting ourselves from any situations that we may face with sellers going forward. We had a lot of shit shows in August, y'all. Like it's been crazy out here, y'all. But you know, we still out here rocking and rolling. We ain't dead or nothing like that or whatever. You know, it's just learning
Right.
experiences. Everything happens for a reason. You know, we've done tons of these deals, but sometimes things are going to happen that come out of left field. Some things are going to happen that's going to be a little bit random or whatever. You're not going to be able to prepare for every single thing that happens. But since you're watching this video, you can grab that vanilla dispo contract pack. Make sure that you protect yourself in these
Protect
situations.
yourself.
You can do a lot more to protect yourself because that's one of the biggest takeaways of the entire month of August for us. Is that look, we gotta strengthen up our contracts. One,
Yep.
we gotta make sure that we're only using our contracts like when we're selling deals. Number two, and we gotta make sure that even like with like checking out every single day, even if we do sign somebody else's contract, that we're super thorough in terms of every single contract. We don't want to just insta sign just because somebody
Right.
wants to buy or just because someone
Right.
wants to sell. Because sellers can send you agreements or whatever. You don't want to just be instantly signing. We got to make sure that we're looking at those agreements and making sure that we're getting the best terms possible for ourselves. And not to mention, you know, I think another thing as well is I try to say, like, stay within your own parameters. I'm not a huge fan of like trying to work with people that have lenders and things of that nature. And we had this intuition that told us to back on about that driveway, as Najee would say. Like something told
Right.
us to back on about that driveway,
Yeah.
but we didn't, you know, and like because we allowed the lender, you know, to influence our decision to back out of that driveway. So what I recommend for you guys, if y'all watching this, man, learn from us. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, none of us is perfect or whatever. And anybody else that is out there telling, hey, look, I'm perfect. Our business doesn't make mistakes. That's cap. So, like, just
They
understand
capping.
that or whatever. It's super cap. Because everybody makes mistakes. You have deals that don't go through. Sometimes you have difficult situations. You have buyers trying to circumvent you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Even if you do have wording in your contract, you still have people that try to do you in and do you dirty or whatever, right? You got to deal with those situations as they arise. I wanted to come on here and actually be super transparent with the community or whatever. Just like, hey, look, man, we had some hard times over August, man. And I told y'all I was just going to keep it a buck with y'all, man. This has been tough,
Yeah.
y'all. Help us. Hey, but look, we ain't complaining. We ain't complaining. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying? We're not going to
that's
cry
a Kevin
about it
Hart
or
meme.
anything like that. We've been out here. We just been out here just constantly rocking and rolling, man. You know, and we're transitioning things, we're revamping things, and that's what I wanted to kind of bring to you all or whatever. So y'all know, like, hey, look, it's not perfect, but we rocking and rolling with the punches. And I want y'all to see that realness, man. Let y'all see that transparency. Let y'all know it's not just all fun and games. It's not just all peaches and creams. You're gonna have hard times. You're gonna have big deals that fall apart. But if you want to protect yourself, grab that contract pack. You know, it's very affordable as well or whatever. I'm not really like on that salesy type stuff or whatever. Y'all know how I get down. We're going to give y'all value at the end of the day or whatever. But if y'all want to protect yourselves the same way that we're being protected right now, check out that contract pack for real. Make sure that y'all check out the rest of the links down below. Grab a one-on-one strategy session or something like that. Grab an underwriting session. That's something that we're going to be adding in as well. Y'all see those links down below this video. Help yourself. Treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself, as I always say, man. So